Thank you, Nadia. And at the outset, I'm so happy to be back to Morocco and to my first visit to Dakhla, my second visit to the Moroccan Sahara. And I wish to thank Madame Souad Mekawi of Maroc Diplomatique for the meticulous organization of this event, as well as my brother and dear friend, Ambassador Omar Hilal, the permanent representative of Morocco to the United Nations. If we speak about Moroccan diplomacy in the multilateral format, in the United Nations in particular, frankly, I would say Morocco exercises a first-class diplomacy inside the United Nations, not only on its national cause, the Sahara, but also in other areas like the social track. Morocco has been a vocal and a leader in passing the migration compact, which is touching on many areas affecting the developed world and the need to come out with a new formula between the north and the south, between the countries and the people originated from labor exporting or migration exporting to the receiving countries. They need to be organized and orderly. There is also the issue of women's rights. Morocco is very active in the in the third committee, which is the social affairs, one of the 6 committees of the United Nations. And every year during the CSW, the Commission on the Status of Women, you find large participation from Morocco, NGOs, ministers coming. There is also the area of climate change. Not only that Morocco hosted the COP in Marrakesh a few years back, but also in the negotiations and reaching to multilateral agreements. Being that said, and speaking about multilateral agreements and multilateralism, President-elect Trump is no stranger to the global scene. What started as a catchphrase, an election catchphrase, America first, actually, it took us some time to understand it. What does it really mean? It's not a catchphrase, it's a whole doctrine. I can summarize it in few points. Number 1 point, he have a strong disbelief of the multilateral structure of the world. His first target when he came in his first presidency was the United Nations. He capped the contributions made by the US to the working budget as well as for peacekeeping, which used to be waived the 25% benchmark by the various presidents to meet the increasing costs of peacekeeping. The general budget also have suffered under President Trump. The second area is that he linked its financing of the UN to a political track, namely its position from Israel. While his advisors failed to inform him that the United Nations is not a person, it's not the Secretary General, for example, it's not the others, it's the will of the members of the United Nations, the General Assembly, which is the highest thing, and the Security Council, which the real power of the most influential organ of the United Nations that exercises and issue resolutions, and some would be under Chapter 7, which can be enforced by military force. So being that said, we should brace for the second coming of President Trump into a more hard time. His selection for his next permanent representative indicates that he is still fixated on Israel. He still thinks that by eliminating or reducing or stopping the finance to UNRWA, for example, the UN Refugees and Work Organizations for the Palestinian people, will put pressure. The financing for the World Food Program and other programs, many programs. So the United Nations, and I mean the member states of the United Nations, the other 192 members, have to start to, raise up their performance, start to forge new partnerships. The role of civil society should be heightened. It has to be given more platform. Partnerships with multinationals and corporate sector. This can all be solutions to fill the gap between what is needed and what is actually available. Not only the financial side, but creating the partnership, especially with the NGOs, will create more embracing by the peoples of the world. The United Nations Charter, which is the constitution of the United Nations, starts with the first phrase, we, the peoples of the world. So it is from the people, to the people, by the people, represented by their governments. So this is just in a nutshell how President-elect Trump views the United Nations based on his previous presidency. The most important point that the United Nations is not and should not be faded from the scene. The world after World War II have invested so much, not just in financial resources, but in other areas as well, intellectual, legal frameworks, treaties that's been negotiated. President Trump's approach is through unilateralism. He wants to do it his way. The only way he can do it is through bilaterals with other countries. The United States is not going to disappear from the face of the world, but he doesn't want to do it through a multilateral format. He thinks that it invokes on the sovereignty of his country. Economic nationalism is the second pillar of President Trump's America First doctrine, that he measures the relationships with other countries and also his tools of pressure through trade, through the economic actions that he might take. President Trump is, in a way, I can understand the foundations of economic nationalism. He's a corporate person. That's normal. We can expect it. For the American people, as long as you keep them happy and their jobs are available and the inflation is down and all the economic factors, so nobody's going to make a complaint. But other countries will suffer accordingly.